Are you tired of not knowing what to do in between songs in a worship set or at the opening of a worship set? Well, I'm George from Scott Studio, and today I'm going to show you some tips that you can implement right away to help you flow during services. So stay tuned.
Scott Studio.
All right, welcome back. All right, so let's talk about this. I hear this a lot from my students, just not knowing what to do when a song ends, okay? So for the sake of this example, I'm going to be using Waymaker as a worship song, okay? And if you don't know the chords, that is 4, 1, 5, and then 6, okay? So let's just say they've ended the song. One easy thing you can do is if they're talking or praying in response to the song, you could simply keep the chords of the song going, okay? Now, what I would suggest, as you can hear here, is I have a pad under my keys, okay? So even when I'm playing the chords continually, I can softly hit the keys if you got a touch-sensitive board, and really let that pad do the work. So I'm not doing a whole lot of fancy stuff with my chords. I'm just simply hitting the chords and letting the pad do the work. So I'm filling the room with ambience, okay? And you could do that while they're talking, while they're praying, okay? Now, if you're like, oh, this feels like it's too loud, what you could do is the art of subtraction, okay? So right now, if I'm starting with 4, I'm playing the whole F chord, right? So instead of playing the whole F chord, I can subtract the F and the C and just hit an A, okay? Now what I want to do is, for the sake of this example, is each chord, I'm going to take the third of the chord or the second note, and I'm going to play that with the right hand. I'm going to keep the framework of the right hand the same. So the 1 and the 5 of the chord. All right. So this is still an F chord. I'm just breaking up the pieces. Okay. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go to C, which is E for the third. And then B, which is the third for G. And then C, which is the third for A minor. So you can see it automatically sounds quieter, and you could put some passing notes. And if you want, simple is better, especially if you're flowing in between and it's a quiet worship time, okay? So now let's just say, okay, well, I've played this for about a minute or so, and we're still not in the next song, and I don't know what to do, okay? You could do one of two things. You could softly begin the intro of the next song, or you could amend the chords that you're playing. So originally you were doing the 4, 1, 5, and then 6. So I might go back to the 4, and I might go to 2. I might go to 6, and I might go to 5 over to 7. So basically, I'm just playing random chords, but you want to play them in normal progressions where it makes sense, okay? I'm just picking chords from that key, and I'm just keeping it very simple, very soft, because if you're flowing and it's a worship time, you don't necessarily want to be banging over here, because your intent is to add to the moment but not bring attention to yourself, okay? So you could take that and keep your pad going and just pick different chords in the key that you're in, okay? All right, and then in the middle of there, say you need to modulate to G, you could simply go to the 5 of the next key and begin to play randomly there. So let's say we're going to G. I want to hit a D chord. And then I'm going to do just 1, 6, 5, and 4. So then it's not overly invasive while whatever's happening is happening. Okay? Now, what you could do, let's say, for example, we're in G and you're doing what I was talking about earlier, where you're just doing the third. And let's just say, oh, they start clapping, it gets really loud, and you feel like you should be doing more. Well, what you could do is simply add to what you were doing. So instead of just playing the B, I might play the G together, and I might drop the octave and below. And then play the same thing. So I just added to the same chords, and I might. Okay, and say they come back down soft, I could go right back to what I was doing. Okay. So flowing in between is not necessarily complex, but it's all about having a loose plan and then flowing within that plan. Okay. The idea is to fill the room so that music never pauses, but also filling it to where attention is not brought upon you as the worship pianist. Okay. Now, the one other thing that you can do always is, say you are playing and you need to fill in randomly, okay? An easy way to do that is if you want to create some type of melodic something in between G and D, I have all these notes, right? I could take any of those notes and between E and B, I have all these random notes, so I could do anything between that chord. So like between D would be D, E, F sharp, G, A. They're up for game as you begin to flow in between. So you're not necessarily trying to find something different up here. You're staying right in the window. And you're just creating whatever you want in between that window, okay? So now you're not having to think so hard about improvisation when these moments happen, but you're simply looking at your window and then just picking randomness in between. Now, flow can be on tempo or off tempo, okay? But I would like to say that flow can be unstructured. So anything in between the song, if there's not a click going, not a drummer drumming, and it's just you on the keys, you don't have to keep a tempo, but you do have to keep sound going. So don't think of it trying to go between these notes and think about a tempo. You're just picking random. In between and being able to play in between, okay? Remember, subtraction means quieter. So if it's a lower moment, you don't want to be doing all that. That's too much. But you can increase the movement if it becomes a louder moment. Where you need to add a little bit more, you can increase the movement. And then when it comes back softer, you can decrease the movement, because it's all about addition and subtraction, not volume button, okay? All about the addition and the subtraction, okay? All right. So I hope those flow tips were helpful for you. Again, you can really take those and implement them right away without having to necessarily learn a whole different skill. It's all about taking what you know and then reapplying it so that you're able to fill that space. Again, George here from Scott Studio. If you're looking for music ministry support, one-on-one coaching, or any of the like regarding your music ministry, make sure you check out our website at www.scottstudio.me. I hope that I see you in the next tutorial.
Scott Studio.